Let the battle for the best whiskey of 2023 begin. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch, and thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So this is, without a doubt, one of my most favorite things to get to do at the end of the year, which is taste through all the best whiskeys I got my hands on this year to determine which one is the best. If you missed it, I did do a video revealing all 10 of my favorite whiskeys from the year, so click up here to watch that. It'll give you context for everything we're about to do and the journey we're about to begin. In this video though, we're going to start with our first 5 contenders. So basically, we're starting off with the first 5, we'll move on to the second set of 5, and then we'll pick our 2 favorites from each blind matchup, and those will go into the final round to determine the winner of all of 2023. But it all begins right here with these whiskeys right in front of me. So let me just introduce you to the contenders today. All the way on the left here, we've got Craig Barrel Proof batch C923. So one of the best whiskeys I've ever tasted, to be honest with you. And if you had to ask me right now to put money on something to win this whole thing, that might be it. Then here we've got the Booker's Charlie's batch. So the very first batch of Booker's this year. I think it's really, really good. More balanced than a lot of Bookers I've had, with some more fruit notes. So interested to see how that will stand up to the rest. In the middle here, we've got the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof Rye release. This was semi-limited this year, but should be hitting shelves more regularly. For my own bottle, it is 128.5 proof, which is kind of low actually, considering all the other, 130 plus options that are, have been released for this, but really, really great release from Jack Daniel's. Then we've got the Wild Turkey Master's Keep Voyage, which was a little controversial this year. The price went up to $275 MSRP, which is quite high for Master's Keep, but it is the best rum finished bourbon I've ever tasted for sure. And then last but not least, we kind of have the new kid on the block with new Riff. They released an 8-year-old Bohemian wheat whiskey that I think is just phenomenal. So interested to see how that can stand up to these sort of tried and true distilleries. Without further ado, I'm just going to remove all of these bottles and we'll mix up the glasses so we don't know the order, and then we'll dive into this blind matchup. All right, I have successfully mixed these up. No idea what the order is. It's not a double blind. Obviously, I do know what the options are, but with 5 before me, it's probably going to be pretty hard to pick out what all of these are, and I'd be impressed with myself, let's just say, if I could somehow discern what each of these is. So should be a pretty fair matchup here. Before we dive in, I do want to say the goal is to get this channel to 2,000 subscribers. Would love to have you aboard for all of 2024 if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the like button as well on this video to get it out to more people, and then also let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite whiskeys of 2023? And also, how do you think this is going to turn out for us? Which of these 5 do you think is going to come out on top? Again, our 2 favorites are going to move on to the final round. All right, let's go into glass A, and we'll do the nose first and then the palate. So nose of glass A. Nice. It's pretty rich. Some vanilla and honey, some spice as well, maybe a little touch of peanut, and oak, little oak funk as well. But the vanilla is really strong on that, and a nice cherry coming through, a little bit of fruit, very nice. Very strong start with glass A. Let's go to glass B here. Ooh, a little different in a good way. It's a spicy, tingly kind of nose. There's a vanilla and bread, kind of a bready note to it. Some soft, warm tones, but then there's like this blackberry tang to it as well. It's a little astringent, but not in a bad way. And then a cinnamon kind of spice. Nice. Good complexity there. All right, let's go to glass C. Ooh. Okay, I definitely think there's a citrus pineapple, coconut, molasses thing going on here. It gives me the impression of rum for sure. So it might be the Voyage. I thought that might be the one I'd be able to pick out the most because it has a finish. I think it's really good, but definitely if I had to guess, that one's got the most rum presence on it. All right, let's go to glass D then on the nose. Oh, wow. So banana, vanilla forward. This is like a banana pudding. Used to get these pudding cups with like the banana and then there's like a layer of vanilla cream kind of pudding on top. It smells a lot like that. Vibrant red cherry as well. Like a cherry lollipop and some brown sugar. Very candy sweet. Very, very candy forward. And then let's go into glass D on the nose. Oh, okay. Sharp turn away from glass D. Glass E here is richer and darker. More age coming across. Oak, vanilla, black cherry. A little bit astringent and punchy as well. But brown sugar, yeah. I mean, it's a stark difference between glass D and glass E. But glass D, just kind of recapping the whole nose experience, this glass D is standing out like super pungent and so desserty. Other than that, I do like glass E a lot. I think glass C gives me a rum vibe. We'll see if that plays out on the palate. And then glass A and B are interesting and complex. So we'll have to dive into those a little bit more as we go. But let's go to glass A on the palate. We'll certainly get a lot more information digging in here. Cheers. Whoa. Whoa. Way more cinnamon heat than I was expecting. There's like a dark chocolate, peanut, and cinnamon vibe going on here. A little touch of oak, good vanilla, and good honey. And then maybe a little bit of cherry, but what really came forward is that chocolate, cinnamon core to it. And the finish is really good on this. It really overwhelmed the middle of my palate. Very spicy. But now I'm getting this oak chocolate cinnamon thing that is really, really good. By the way, between each sip, I will be getting some water to refresh my palate. Probably will be cutting all that out, but just wanted you to know that I will be cleansing my palate between each sip of this great whiskey. All right, let's go to glass B. Cheers. Nice. Very different than glass A, but in a good way. Much softer, less aggressive. The sweetness is really nice. A little bit of citrus, honey, brown sugar, and then there's this like raspberry jam thing going on here as well. Kind of matches that bread quality, like raspberry jam on toast. That's delightful and very, very nice. Two very contrasting experiences there though. All right, let's go on to glass C here. First thing, it's velvety smooth. Really, really nice. Much more of that like coconut, little acidity too. But then there's brown sugar and oak. And there's a molasses and spice finish to this one. That's good. Really, really velvety. I feel like the other two had aggressive parts to them, but glass C is just a mellow, smooth experience all the way through. All right, let's move on to glass D. Man, this is fun. I forgot how fun this is to just dive into so many good whiskeys. Cheers, everybody. Wow, that is powerful. It's like bananas Foster, like chocolate, a little of a savory note in there as well, some black pepper, but the banana, vanilla, cherry punch to that is really, really powerful. Whew, that one is kicking on all cylinders. That is a candy forward dessert kind of whiskey experience. All right, last but not least, let's see if Glass E can stand up to the test of the rest. I mean, these are all so good. Whoa. That is just the richest palate you could ask for. Black cherry and vanilla and a lot of oak. It's just waves of flavor. The black cherry and vanilla is like ice cream. Like if you go get a black cherry chip ice cream. Oh man. That one's velvety as well. Very robust in the mouth. And the amount of oak and deep richness to it. Brown sugar, a little bit of plum, and then that dark cherry and oak. And some spice, I mean barrel spice as well. Kicks up in the finish especially. Wow. What a display of different kinds of flavors. These are kind of taking my palate for a ride. It's a little bit of a roller coaster experience. So I'm gonna go in reverse order just for myself and then do some A/B comparison. We'll cut through all that for you so that it's not a super long video. And then I will reveal my order and tell you what's moving on. Okay, everybody. This has been a ton of fun. Loved getting to go through these, kind of compare each of them to each other. They're all phenomenal. There's no real losers here. Let's just establish that. All of these are the best whiskeys of 2023, so they're amazing. But we got to get to our order here. So for me, in 5th place, though still really interesting and unique, and a great, great whiskey, was Glass A. Just a little funky for me, and it was particularly the fact that it was very spicy and overwhelming at first. Kind of made it hard to detect flavors. So ends up in 5th place, but certainly still very flavorful. It was. That makes sense. It's the Bookers. For me, Bookers can tend to be quite hot, but again, this batch has so much flavor and the finish is really good. It's very like chocolate, mocha, peanut butter. Very, very good. And a little funky oak in there too. So Charlie's batch, great batch of Bookers, but definitely a spicy experience still. In 4th place for me was Glass B. For me, this one has this bready, spicy quality that is really, really nice. Can be a touch aggressive at times, kind of like the Bookers. So that's the only knock. And then also these other 3 just kind of stood apart as just a half step above in some cases. So here we have Glass B, really, really good stuff. Let's see what it was. Makes sense. That's the new Riff 8-year-old Bohemian wheat. I gotta say, I am impressed as heck with New Riff, and I am so excited to see what they do in the future. At 8 years old, their stuff is already phenomenal. What if it gets to, 12 years old? I can't even imagine how good it's gonna be. It's just gonna be out of this world. So, New Riff, congratulations. You made some phenomenal whiskey this year, and I am so, so happy to have this bottle. All right, moving on. This is kind of a weird sequence because, for me, in 3rd place was Glass C. What really made this stand apart is the velvety smoothness of it. Really, really nice. I did detect the rum, so I'm guessing this is the Voyage, but I could be wrong. But it's got this citrus, coconut, molasses touch to it that's really, really nice. Then a brown sugar kind of oaky core to it from the bourbon, if I'm right that this is the Voyage. But it's velvety smooth. It just didn't quite live up to the other 2, which have sort of established themselves as dominant here, but this is still a really, really great batch. Whatever it is, if it's the Voyage, let's see. This is my only guess. I think it's the Voyage. See if I'm right. Okay, I'm right. The Voyage. Master's Keep from this year. Yes, it's expensive. $275 is a lot. It's without a doubt the best rum finished bourbon I've ever tasted. It's really well blended in and it's velvety smooth. But among all the whiskeys of 2023, it isn't one that's moving on to my final round. So that tells you that it's very, very good, very special, great blend, but there was some stuff that was even better this year. Which leaves us our last two glasses. We've got Glass D and Glass E, which were both phenomenal in their own ways. Glass D has this candy forward bananas Foster amazingness. Glass E has this depth and richness to it, full force whiskey in lots of ways. And for me, I'll just reveal my winner because that will tell us which each one of these is. For me today, the winner was Glass E. Just the richest palate by far. So hard to deny that one. But honestly, Glass D gave it a great run for its money, and I'd actually take the nose on Glass D over Glass E. Let's see what Glass E was to reveal our winner and our second place, both of which are moving on. Okay, the winner today is Elijah Craig, batch C923. And the second place is the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof Rye. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that this Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof Rye stood out that much against the rest. These are the two higher proof options here, so that could have played a factor for sure. But if you ask me, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C923 is one of the richest palates I've ever tasted. And Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof, just a standard offering that's coming out on shelves and should be more available. It has one of the richest, most dessert, candy-forward noses and palate experiences I've ever tasted. So both of these are phenomenal whiskeys, and I'm super excited for them to move on to the next round. It's going to be really interesting to see how this Jack Daniel's in particular stands up to the test in the next round. But it's kind of confirmed for me that Elijah Craig C923, while the nose was really, really good, it was a little bit harder to say that stood out among the rest of them. But then you get the palate, and by golly, it is astounding how rich the palate is. It's just so, so good. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up, I think, here. What a fun blind matchup. Both of these whiskeys will move on. Next video, stay tuned. We're gonna do the other 5 best whiskeys from 2023. We'll pick our favorite 2, and they'll go head to head against this Elijah Craig and the Jack Daniel's, and we'll see what comes out on top. But for now, that wraps it up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey. Continue to join me on the journey to see what's the best whiskey of 2023, and cheers.